Let's roll. Podcast number 8 already. We are literally on a roll, so we're gonna keep that going. And last podcast we ended with the meditation, or you basically telling the story about your sister. First of all, thanks for sharing that. And then we had some technical issues, so we decided to postpone it to podcast number 8. So today we're gonna start off with the meditation part.
Yeah. So I was going over, basically something really crazy that happened to me in my meditation. And I mean, I still can't really wrap my head around it, but it got even crazier the more and more I thought about it. And I talked to you about it briefly, but so basically, I would say for like the past month, I've been doing a meditation where I sit samurai position. I will breathe in for 6 seconds, counting in, breathe out for 6 seconds, counting out. And recently the number changed to an 8. And so I kept breathing in, counting to 8, breathing out, counting to 8, and I could not put my finger on it. And so I was explaining in the last podcast that this all hit me without me thinking about it. And this is really what like just blows my mind, because like all these numbers came to me all at once without me thinking. And so basically this is how I tried to make sense of it. The number 3 is very important to me. And actually, maybe you could leave a link for everyone with that video that you sent me from. Yeah, it is amazing. And it's from Nikola Tesla. He has a 369 theory of how important these numbers are to not us, but just the universe in general. And it basically applies to everything. 3 has been a very significant number to me. So I've always done things in 3. I do all when I work out, I do sets of 3. Even my reps, like I'll go to 9 sometimes, or like if I mess up and I'll go to 10, like I'm like, I got to go to 12 now. Right? I always try to stop in 3s. And so here we go. My brother, this all hit me at once again. So my brother was born in March. That's 3. I'm born in June. That's a 6. My father is born in June. That's a 6. My younger sister, born in September, that's a 9. My mother, born in December, that's a 12. This is what, it just gets so crazy. You and I started talking, like my best friend, my brother from childhood, December 24th, Bazes, born December 24th. My father and I have the same birthday, the exact same. I was born on his birthday. My sister, my older sister that recently passed away, she's kind of the oddball. She was born in August, which is an 8, and August 8th. All these things just hit me like a floodgate all at once, and I felt it from her. I felt her saying, like, keep going. This is me talking to you. She wanted, like that number popped in my head to throw me off to think of her. That's how I made sense of it. To, like, just push me forward, dude. Like, I don't know. I still get chills thinking about it, man. It's really crazy.
It also puts a smile on my face. Like, I don't know why, but it makes me smile in some way.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, I got to say, like, ever since all this happened to me, like, even yesterday, like, I was working on a mix, and, like, I was kind of, like, stuck in it. And then just the answers came to me, and I felt her. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know why it was her. But it was just, I was like, I hear you, sis. I got it now. I figured it out. Thank you. Like, she gave me the answer. And maybe that's just me credited to her, but I don't know, man. Like, this stuff means something. I could tell you that.
Well, one thing I do know is for the last year, I've learned a lot about our ancient histories, about the pyramids, about our stars, astronomy, astrology, our frequencies. And since I've learned more about that, I started re-questioning everything again. I thought I knew, but then I learned new stuff, and I'm back to zero. Life questions regarding what is our purpose in life? What will be after this? Are there things like superpowers, or when people pass away, there are still frequencies we can communicate with? I used to be not open to that, but now I'm learning or relearning everything, and it just opens up new chapters. So you talking about your sister in that way, that could be true. We don't know, but I do know there are certain frequencies we cannot explain, or certain things that can be explained. And I see it a lot in my circle of friends and family. You don't hear it a lot in a daily basis, but every once in a while, someone will come up to you and tell a crazy story, and you're like, wow, this is unexplainable. This is unexplainable. And you did the same thing last week. I don't know if you want to tell about it, but the person you saw, or you didn't see it, but you know someone who saw a person who basically is saying I can speak to people after life. We had a crazy message for you as well, and that's true. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. If not, then I respect that, of course. But
Yeah, that is another big piece to the story. My sister-in-law, shout out to her. She went to see a medium, and if you don't know what this is, it's basically a person that could speak to the dead. And so my sister-in-law was there with her mother, and they were doing something else. And the medium basically, like in the middle of it, was like, "Did you recently have a sister that passed away?" And my sister-in-law was like, "No, but my brother did, or my husband did." And so basically the medium is like, "Well, do you guys have an online business?" They don't, but I do. And what the medium told my sister-in-law was that my sister was basically breaking through to tell her for me to keep going. It's like whoever has the online business needs to keep going. And like I'm the only one.
Sorry. And that came together with the eight as well, with the meditation and the counting. So in the same time phrase.
Yeah, it was all
stuff
in the same
like that.
time frame.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff like that, it cannot be explained. And it's easy to say, nah, that's bullshit. But who are we to say it's true or it's not true? Because we don't know. I had the same thing in school. There was a friend who could say he could read palms because his grandmother did that. And it's like, sure, let's do it with the group. And some people were pretty skeptical. And he grabbed the hand of a person, and that person was bisexual. So both into men and women. And they didn't know each other. And the first thing he asked is like, "Are you bisexual?" And I was like, everybody was like, how could he know? It's not a random question. It's so specific that it could not be random. So that makes you question again, how is that even possible? It's not what we tend to believe in this Western society of science and how we look to the supernatural, but stuff like that really happened. I was a witness of that. And you're the witness, same with that medium. And there are stuff that just cannot be explained. And I have multiple stories from friends and family as well that I'm not going to share here, of course, but it occurs.
I think we all have those stories. And even if a person wants to like ignore it and not paying attention to it, they still have it in the back of their head of like, this thing happened to me and I can't explain it. I think we've all been there at least once. I really feel that way.
I don't know what it is that makes it happen to have an event like that. What is it?
Yeah. I think that like that video you sent me about Nikola Tesla, and they'll talk about in the video of numbers. And numbers are very important to us. And like the way he'll explain it is like it's the universal language. Like you could explain everything with numbers. They could explain like what a black hole is through mathematics, you know, and how this is created. And so there's something in numbers that is like outside of our understanding, I believe. And that's like maybe how these things come to us. Like, you know, the pyramids would be a big example of all these things that these were all created through mathematics and numbers. And they're all very significant with the 369s and whatnot. And this all links to the stars and like the actual like circumference of the earth, and all these things are all aligned and linked together. I think it's beyond our comprehension, but I think that it lies the unexplained territory is somewhere in the numbers. That's where I feel.
It may be the universal language to all life and all beings throughout our cosmos. Maybe mathematics.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially the way he explained it. Like that video is like, ooh, it's compelling, very compelling.
We'll definitely put it in the description. And it's funny, we're 9 minutes in and we haven't discussed anything about meditation, but that's how we talk. So that's the fun part.
Well, in reality too, like, I mean, that was kind of, that's one cool thing that happened to you in meditation, you know, and it's not like we have to generate it around meditation, but definitely, to me, like as you described, I wasn't always into meditation either. Like, I mean, this is all like, it's not like very recent to me, but like, I mean, I'm 37 years old and I've been like really rediscovering myself for about 5 years now. So I've like just begun to open my mind to it. And like a lot of cool things have happened to me inside of meditation that I never would have imagined. And that's just one example, you know? And it's like, to me, like I come out of them or I'm like, I have no clue what just happened to me there. Like no clue. I feel super confused, but like, I feel more like less a weight off my shoulder or something, I guess. Like I feel like enlightened. I feel like at least that one, man, made me feel like I'm ready. It's time. You know, it's just time to go forward.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah,
You're good, man.
and to take a step back, I was always into reflection and introspection, but never really into meditation. So I just like you, for the last year, I've been digging into meditation a bit more. And what it helps is your subconscious will show you what you're struggling with that in that moment. So I often do a guided meditation where I listen to a voice talking me through where you're walking somewhere, and whatever you may see, it's just going to occur. There is no wrong or right. Just what you're going to see is what you're going to see. That's just your subconscious thought pushing in that meditation. So I was walking to a forest in this meditation, of course, and they basically ask, like, who do you see right now at the moment? And for me, it was something I was battling with my ego. I was annoyed by someone, and someone just from work, I was like, do I need to talk to this person? How am I gonna solve this problem? And kind of the meditation, my subconscious pushed me through that image. I couldn't go around. And because of that, it resolved basically. I could just drop my ego out of it and saying, like, it's okay, I know how I have to approach this, just by doing a guided meditation. So it's kind of reflecting as well, but more of a subconscious level, because you're not in a sleep state, but your eyes closed, kind of in a floating state. When I came out, I was like clear-minded. I knew what I had to do. So if I wouldn't have done that meditation on that specific day, I would still would be fighting with that little struggle. And these are little struggles, of course. But if you could tackle a little struggle every day, it's going to add up to positivity and a better vibe and better coping with everything around you. So,
yeah, I love how you said just do one every day. Like, it's a little bit every day, right? This doesn't happen overnight. So, like, I know that, like, meditation was a big time struggle for me in the beginning. Like, I couldn't silence my mind. I couldn't be quiet. Like, it just, like, it didn't feel like it did anything for me. But, like, over time, I got better. I was going to ask you, so did you go in with, like, the thought of whatever you wanted to sort through? Did you, like, keep that thought in your mind and you, like, are hyper focused on that thought? Or do you just, like, whatever happens when you go into meditation?
Sometimes I have an intention, and sometimes it will show me the way. A few weeks back, I was dating a girl, and we split up. And I didn't go with that intention into the meditation, but that whole weekend, I was feeling off. I had this weird feeling in my stomach. I had this void, and I didn't really feel happy yet, but I didn't know what it was. Like, what's happening? And then I did a meditation, and my subconscious showed that, like, you're still dealing with this process of saying goodbye to her, And then I felt sad that night, which was good because I could let flow it out. I was crying a bit. I was like, God, this was the empty feeling I had in my stomach the whole weekend. So I was really happy that I did the meditation, because it kind of showed me internally what I was battling with. But during the day, you're always busy with work and all that stuff. So you don't have time to look for that stillness and that calmness to give it a spot. But with the meditation, I was able to. And then afterwards, I was like, good. I was like, it's out.
Yeah. It kind of allows you to, like, absorb whatever's happening to you and then let it go.
Exactly.
Like you said, it brings it into, like, deep understanding.
And to come back to your question, so do you have an intention or not? It depends. Sometimes I like to sort something through, and sometimes it just shows me the way.
I do the same thing. Like, what's weird is, like, a lot of times, like, I will go in with no thought at all, but, like, it'll be within seconds, like, something comes to me of, like, what I got to deal with. And it's usually, like, I think it's all subconscious. Like, I wake up with, like, okay, this is, like, what I got going on today. So, like, I'm kind of already drilling in my head of, like, what I got to deal with. And so when I go to get in my meditation, that was already drilled in my head. So these answers start to just hit me, or at least what I need to think about comes to me, pretty quickly, usually.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's kind of your subconscious, what we just talked about. Just deep down, what you want to sort through, but it hasn't gone to the surface yet. So when you take a deep dive into yourself, that will come up, of course.
Yeah. This is, like, definitely off subject, but I recently discovered this whole theory. Have you heard of the marshmallow theory?
No. Oh, you mean, yeah. That one, take one marshmallow now, or yeah.
Yeah, I posted about it. And, like, what a really cool thing to, well, first of all, practice with children. But also, like, I think meditation, like, really brought that at least that concept to light in my head years ago, and it was the patience part. Basically, what the concept is like if you were to offer a kid a marshmallow now, or give them an option to have 2 hours later. If they were to wait in 2 hours, they have two instead of have one now. And what this does is this kind of determines your success rate. So the person that's obviously going to take the marshmallow right away isn't willing to work and wait for something to get a bigger reward. Typically, they just want the quick reward, the shortcut, so to speak. And so obviously the waiting 2 hours would give you two marshmallows. And to me, that makes more sense in my head. Like, I'm that type of person. I got a lot of patience. So I'm willing to work hard for something and wait. And fitness gave this to me. Like, you and I talk about it a lot. Like, I know that it takes a long time to build to get to a big reward. You're not going to get it overnight. And so that's kind of like the marshmallow theory. But like, meditation really gave that to me before like even knowing that concept. Like, I kind of knew that I meditate a lot on like patience and what I got to wait for. And like, I tell myself it a lot, like, especially in my business, man, like, this is some of the hardest work I've ever done in my life. Like, it requires like immense patience, like years of patience of working hard for nothing. And eventually it works. And like, I drill this in my head. So it prepares me for the hardship. And meditation is the only thing that's really given that to me, like to bring me into like true patience.
That's cool. And I'm still learning that on a micro level, because you have it over time. Let's say your career, to be patient, to work for 10 years straight, and then only get the reward. But I also have it with the moment my song got deleted of Spotify. I remember with the song She Got Away, I came home from work at 9 in the evening, so it was already pretty late. I saw the email, and then I took care of everything. It was like 12 o'clock. I was tired as fuck. The next morning, I felt like a hangover. We've discussed with this. We discussed this before. We'll talk about that a bit later. Like being a hangover from working or your mind being so active. And then I was like, I should just do a meditation, go to sleep, pick it up in the morning, and work fresh on it. So that night, I kind of needed that to learn that process. So 2 weeks later, I had like this assignment for music as well, and it was late in the evening. I was like, I'm just going to meditate now, let it sink in, do it in the morning. And that's a part to be patient as well. Just being patient to sleep on it and do it tomorrow.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, like, that helped me too. I didn't have to go through it. I just had to like talk to you and witness you go through it. And I'm like doing the same thing. I'm going to start dropping my phone at night. I'll get back to messages when I'm ready. I don't have to get back to everything right away. And I think that that's like so important, especially how you describe like, coming home, you already know you're dealing with a problem. Should have went to bed. Got up the next day, you would have probably dealt with it a lot better. I mean, you didn't. You dealt with it that night, and it ruined your next day. And this is usually what happens, right? Like, if you don't have the patience to like chill, do the stillness, think about it logically, get the emotion out of you, you're going to come back with a better decision tool, in your mind. And, if you don't have patience in the moment, like, it usually is a lot worse on you. Like you say, you have hangovers the next day, and so many problems occur.
And what I see as well is meditation you don't need to do meditation for a big problem, like when you're totally into shit or into the gutter. It's just for daily life, those small pieces that you experience. Already for those kind of small things, meditation is going to help you. I see so many people in my surroundings, family, friends, stressing at night and not be able to sleep. I was like, do a meditation so you can let it go. Even if that means you fall asleep 30 minutes earlier, that's already worth a meditation, that you're being less stressed and have a better night of sleep, instead of thinking of this big, enormous problem that you have. It's not about that. It's like the small pieces in your life you want to improve. So for everybody that's listening right now, go try it out, the meditation, even if you think you have sorted everything out. Because I see this with Gary V as well. Gary Vaynerchuk, for people that don't know him, he's a motivational speaker. He's got marketing companies, this positive, huge guy on the internet. I also recommend that you go follow him. But he says, I don't do meditation because I'm already in this good place right now. I was like, yeah, but if you know how meditation is, then you've realized you're in a better place. So meaning you're in a good place doesn't mean you don't need the meditation.
Yeah. First of all, it's like pretty egotistical to say to yourself, be like, I don't need this. Like, how do you know if you've never tried? You know? And you're 100% selling yourself short. Like, even if you are the happiest person on earth, you got everything going good for you, meditation is going to make it that much better. Really is.
Exactly.
Like there's zero negative impacts from it. It's like nothing but positive and better. So yeah, you're selling yourself short. If you're going to tell yourself you're already happy and you don't need meditation, you do. We all need silence. We all need stillness, and like this is the only way to get it. So,
And that meditation does that to you. It allows you to feel. So if you're really happy and you go into this stillness, you're going to feel extremely happy. I had this a few weeks back. I will share this experience for everybody at home. I watched a video of After School with Graham Hancock telling a story, and there was this classical song under it, and it just made me cry. And I started meditating to that, and for 7 minutes straight, I was crying. And I don't know, I couldn't comprehend the feeling. I was filled with joy, with a bit of sadness, what we're doing to the world, but also this alive vibe in me that I don't know what it was. I had to tell you I love you, and my friends, I just had to text them. I don't know what it was. It was an overwhelming feeling just by a meditation. So even though that's a positive thing, it allows you to really feel and to be drawn into that emotion.
dude, and like, I mean, that was really a moment for you and I. But I wish people could experience stuff like that, man. Like, not only did that happen to you, but it happened to me. Same exact thing. Like that meditation that you had and I had in that week, it changed me forever. It's going to change me forever. And I felt it, man. Like I cried as well. And like you and I were like, we were connected in frequency or something. And this is
Crazy,
where,
right?
dude, this is where people are like, this is where we're missing out on, man. Like we're missing out on this stuff. And it's like, it's unexplainable. It really is. But it's feeling inside of you. There's something in us that is like, oh God, I can't describe it. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling. And you know, I felt it too. I felt like this overwhelming feeling of sadness and happiness at the same time. It was literally all at once. So that's why I was crying, but it was like tears of joy and tears of sadness. But I felt it with you, man, like completely, like all in, I don't, again, I think that's just something for you and I to experience. There's no way I could put it into words, but it was incredible. It was.
It was weird. And I will put that link in the description as well, both the video of After School, but also the song we were meditating to, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And with meditation as well, what I've experienced is not necessarily astral projection. I'm not there yet. That will take practice. Astral projection is basically having an out-of-body experience while meditating or while under the influence of psychedelics or whatever. But I was laying in my bed and I was doing this meditation and I felt 2D. So what was happening is me, my bed, and the floor were one. It felt I was just flat. It was not with the meditation I was just talking about, but this was just another night when I was meditating in bed. And like this is such a weird feeling. My mental state of being, that floating state of being, turns into a physically feeling of me being 2D. I was like, the power of the mind with meditation is just crazy.
Yeah, it really is. You know that feeling has happened to me in fights. I've had like outer body experiences. That's why I love it so much. That's why I'm connected to it, because it's very meditative. But like, I'll go back to one fight that I had, and like I'm not even kidding you. Like I was outside of myself, watching myself. Like, okay, block that punch. I block it. Hit him now. Bam, hit him. Take him to the ground. Took him to the ground. Like everything was flawless and perfect. Like walked out of that unscathed, and always fought for that feeling again, because that outer body experience is like, whoa, what happened to me there? Like it's like you were all in, like super hyper focused, like it's all you, but it's not you. So yes. Crazy. It is so crazy, man.
And that's the interesting thing about the molecule DMT or dimethyltryptamine. By the way, Joe Rogan enters the chat. But but
oh, okay, Rogan. All right. But maybe we took a little bit before we got on here.
But the funny thing with that molecule is, of course, you can take it as a drug. You can produce it in in a synthetic way, but it's also produced by our body and in plants. So I wanted to bridge that gap between meditation, but also with dreaming and sleeps. I dream really profoundly every night. If I write it down, I have like a whole page of what I was dreaming, which is crazy. I get just drawn to this other world, which is also your subconscious thought. So the things that appear in my dream are also things I run into in daily life, which is kind of the meditation, because I'm dealing with that stuff, what I saw during the day. It may be random. It may be just something I've seen visually, but sometimes also a feeling I want to sort through. Sometimes I wake up after a dream and I'm like, I have to tell this to someone, or I have to do this. So my dream is a meditation as well. And dimethyltryptamine is being produced when you're dreaming. So it may be also with the meditation that you're kind of microdosing that molecule within your body.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. I could see that totally connecting for sure. And how crazy is like DMT? Like when you really start to learn about it, it's like it's in everything, absolutely everything. They say it's in plants, it's in soil, it's in I mean, you can find it in almost everything. Yeah, it's in us, and we could produce it, as Wim Hof will describe. He has a whole video on it, on how you could tap into it on your own. You don't need to take any drugs or anything. Like it's inside us. It's crazy.
Yeah, so with dreams, we know we produce it, but I'm not sure with meditation if the same molecule gets activated in a way if you have this out-of-body experience, because anybody that has tried the drug itself, there is literally an out-of-body experience. Mm-hmm. So you can have that without taking it. So maybe the molecule is still working within your body. Same as with dreaming, but
yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
sure. It's just a question. But
yeah, I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that technically. I mean, maybe one day. I don't know, but like, it makes sense. It makes sense of how you describe it and break it down, and really like, oh god, DMT could get that we could absolutely have some insane experiences on that, and I've heard like all kinds of stories, but like to try to connect the two with like the dream world, I don't know how similar they would be. You know what I mean? So like I could totally see it relating, but I think like the actual drug itself, taking it, is probably going to take you to a whole other level of a dream state that we've never experienced, right?
And even then, in that state, you're going to see geometrical figures. So once again, it comes back to the mathematics we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think that I sent you that video, and so if you remember the exact number, correct me, but I think it's like 122 triangles, like perfect triangles you could fit around the world, and they do it in certain dimensions. And then when they did this, it's wrapped around the entire world, so it's like perfect triangles, which is our geometrical shapes, right? And at each point, there's a pyramid. Each one of those points, a triangle, there's a pyramid.
Yeah.
Like our ancient people knew this. They knew the entire circumference of the Earth. They knew the measurements of it. They knew all the mathematics of like how far a star would be, how far the sun would be from the Earth. How'd you guys figure this out? How's this?
Without satellites or evidence with flying objects, right? They just figured it out by being on Earth.
Yeah, I think like DMT and a lot of that stuff taps into those. Dream states, meditation taps into this knowledge. And like people could sit back and say it's crazy all they want. I know that like Western civilization does not like to acknowledge it that much, but it's absolute fact. Like, how did they figure this stuff out? You go into
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
There is strong evidence for civilizations like the Mayans, the Egyptians, of taking psychedelics for their spiritual knowledge, for their wisdom. We know that. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what was the Mayans were very famous for ayahuasca, which ayahuasca's got to be one of the strongest ones out there, and takes you through a crazy trip, or however you want to word it. I don't know, alternate world. But yeah, dude, they all did it, and they all depicted it. They all wrote about it. They said what it did to them. So like we can't deny that there's some sort of significance there, especially when they're building these things that are unexplainable, right?
And even famous philosophers or scientists we know today take or took DMT, LSD, psilocybin, whatever. Not only the Egyptians 10,000 years ago, but Einstein, for instance, or Steve Jobs, we know, of course. Socrates and Plato, all those people are involved in that as well. And not a lot of people know that, but that's a fact as well.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a tough pill for people to swallow. I know that there's like a whole other theory out there too, and they talk about like psilocybin could be. There's pretty strong evidence saying that it's the cause of the doubling of our brain. So like they say that like, monkeys back in the day were flipping over pies and they started eating them.
Yeah,
and that's what
Stone
doubled their
Ape
brain.
theory. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows what's what, but like there's strong evidence to back that up. And it's very hard to argue with some of those guys. Like and like you said, like all of these like top scientists have taken psychedelics and they'll all tell you like they've had crazy revelations on it. Like a lot of their ideas come from them, So like there's definitely significance there for sure.
And Graham Hancock breaks this down as well. Our society is not against altered state of consciousness because you can buy alcohol everywhere. We can buy tobacco. You can buy Ritalin for kids that have ADHD. There's all these kind of altered state of conscious substances you can take, and that's okay. But the moment you resort to DMT or psilocybin, it's weird, or you're a drug user, or you're an addict, or it doesn't add up for me. And if you look at those drugs, they don't harm the body as well. So psilocybin has not a negative effect like alcohol. So I was wondering what's the whole reason for this, and that dates to the Vietnam War in the US in the 1960s. There was this revelation by people that took psychedelics, like, what are we doing? Why are we fighting our own species, right? And they couldn't handle with that, like, then you're fighting two wars, right? People, like the Civil War in your country, but also the Vietnam. So they shut it off. They had the whole propaganda of saying, if you take LSD, you're going to go crazy, and they're going to make it illegal, and people were criminalized. People are still in jail for that. Just crazy thought. So that's the whole reason it got illegal. And now finally people are waking up. Canada is doing clinical tests where they have people PTSD or stress or other traumas. And it really works. It's better than all the Prozac and all the other medicines that we have nowadays. And even the way we go through therapy, it works better with taking, for instance, psilocybin. So I'm happy the world is finally waking up and we have all these clinical trials and there's a positive result. So in Graham Hancock says the same thing. There is a change, but we're living the change right now. It's still going slowly. But I think 50 years from now, we're going to look back and like, what were we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And, like the unfortunate part as you're going over like all these things we accept, all of those kill your consciousness, and like the stuff that's illegal raises consciousness. And like, I don't know how much that was a factor in making it illegal, but like, I think that's very curious. Like, how is it possible that alcohol is legal and marijuana is illegal? That makes zero sense when you think about like what it does to you physiologically. Like alcohol is horrible for you. There's not one good thing about it. Not one good thing. And there's definitely bad qualities of marijuana for sure, but like you can't point anything out it really does to you, like a negative impact for your health. Like it doesn't like over years just completely deteriorate you and change you as a person. You could get lazier on it. You probably could, forget things. You might hug your kids a little more. That's about it. Laugh at stupid jokes. I mean, like, I've never understood the disconnection.
And we have to make this clear. Any drugs can be bad if you try to escape from this. We discussed this in other podcasts as well. If you don't want to face reality, or if you have a problem and your gateway, it could be a gateway drug if you're trying to escape from something, right? But as long as you did some meditation and you're able to reflect and you're in a good place, it's okay to take altered state of consciousness, whether it's taking a beer, okay, that's fine. Whether it's people smoking weed or whatever, like we have to stop saying this is bad and this is good. Just see it as the same and look at the effects on the body, indeed, like you're saying.
Like I think the biggest thing is like what you and I've talked about it, but it's escaping from, like, what are you escaping from? And so if you're utilizing it to escape your life, understand what you're doing there. You're trying to escape your life. That means you got to fix your life. Don't escape. You can't escape it at night and then go back to it the next day. Like that's going to keep causing the same problem. It's going to make it way worse. So I think like the best thing that you've said to me was like, if you're using it to, escape from your reality, like, obviously this is going to like be a super negative thing in your life. I think if we look at that, like the reason why, if you're doing it to just, have fun with the friends, once a month or whatever, it's perfectly fine. But if you're using it every single night to get away from like what you're dealing with the next day, like this is not going to be good for you.
Yeah, this is a good question. And not even with substances, but also with training, for instance. I was thinking this over. If you grow up in a place where you're not happy, your parents are shit, you're fighting all the time, and your only escape from that is your 1 hour gym every day. Meaning that hour gym is going to be your escape. Which in first sight is going to be fine until your gym shuts down because of Corona or a pandemic. What happens then? Well, you're only escaping that reality for an hour, and then you come back to it, and now you have nowhere to go instead of solving it and not escaping it. So you can translate this to everything, basically.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's going to the source of the problem. Like it makes sense. Okay, you're escaping. You're feeling good for that hour. Yeah, it makes sense in your head, but you're not fixing the source of the problem. Source of your problem is your life. You might want to look at that. The gym's already good for you, or whatever. So just look at the life. And I totally agree with you there. It's about focusing on the source of the problem.
Exactly. Instead of taking something and doing something to feel numb or not feel something for that moment, and then the next day you have to come back and you feel shit again. So.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. And like I'll say this over and over, but you're just borrowing your happiness from tomorrow. Keep doing that. That shit compounds. It's going to get really bad. You're going to be a super miserable person 10 years down the road if you continue. And I mean, good luck escaping out of that like I did, but it's not fun. It's not fun. So try not to do this to yourself, And it really is like, I think the thing in life that we all like to do is we like to lie to ourselves on what the real problem is. So we find escapes to mask the problem, and we just keep the problem there, and it looms over us like a dark cloud. But if we were to like peel back and get the courage to like focus on the problem instead of keep escaping it, you could go fix that problem, and then your escape becomes something good for you. It's not a bad thing anymore. So you could keep having fun and doing your partying and whatever, but fix the problems first. Don't wait till it gets too late.
And a meditation, it can be one piece of that puzzle of sorting out what your problem is.
It's a big piece too. It's a really big piece.
Oh, yeah. And kind of slapping myself for the head, I only started a year ago with meditation. But we discuss this pretty often. Like, I wish I would have done this earlier, but guess what? You're going to go back in time. So be happy with your change now and just keep doing it.
It's really life. I mean, we just go through all these things. I know that I have them almost weekly. Like, why the hell didn't I do this before? I do it to myself all the time. But like, how can we possibly pinpoint all our problems? You know what I mean? Like, it's just one at a time, as you describe. It's really like the key to life is just taking one problem. You look at them all, you're gonna be super overwhelmed. Just take that one problem, and maybe one problem in your life is you have too much noise, and you just need to replace it with meditation, some silence. Start with that. It's a good start. It's a very good start.
It is, and that's the significance of meditation as well. Is when we are working all day, let's say a 9-to-5 job, you get home, and then you think, I'm being chill and I can do nothing. But then we're still watching TV. We're still putting information into our brain. We still see commercials. We still have all these things around us that keep our mind busy. So then you go to bed and you sleep for 8 hours and you wake up and you're still tired. Like, yeah, guess what? No surprise there. Because even in your off time, your brain is still being active. So instead of going on your phone or communicating with people or watching videos during your break, do a 5-minute meditation and you're going to feel fresh throughout the day. You're going to set an intention. You can let go of some stuff you had in the morning and keep moving on.
Yeah, I like how you say 5 minutes too. Start with that. Start 5 minutes. You'll build momentum off of that, and then you're going to discover you're going to need more, and then you're going to discover you're going to crave more. And it's just going to, like I say, that momentum continues. So like, I think that small is the best way to do it. Like you say, 5 minutes, give yourself that break, and just stay disciplined in that and then build, and eventually you'll get better at it.
And I will put that in the link as well in the subscription, not in the subscription, in the description. There's this 5-minute guided meditation. I started off with that as well, just within work, I had like 10 minutes spare. I did a 5-minute meditation, just laying around, and I felt great. So that one is a great one to start off with. So I will put that in the description as well.
Beautiful.
I don't remember which links I have to put on, but I will watch back this podcast and
we'll go over them. We'll get them in there for you. I'm going to change the subject a bit because I wanted to address something that I've seen really spike recently. And so this is going to be a message for all of our musician friends and people out there that listen to us. So recently, you and I have been working on some sync licensing beats. Bazes playing guitar, I do the rest of the work, and then we got some companies we'll send them off to. Well, I'll like just give previews online, and so I'll do hashtags like sync licensing. These past 3 days, I've gotten like 7 different emails from sync licensing companies that are completely scamming. And I'm not going to call any companies out. I don't feel like that's right. Maybe they just don't understand things and they're trying to like work out the kinks. But it's not just in sync licensing, man. Like D-Block, for example, Jada Kiss and all them, like they've been completely exposed for going out there and like scamming people. I don't know if it's actually them, but like they're using that company in their name to scam people. And this is happening a lot in the industry right now. And I think what's really going on is that we're seeing a lot of industry names, big names, that aren't as well off as they'd like to think they are. And so when their money got cut off through this pandemic, which would be live shows and however else they made their money, they've had to go online to try to figure things out. And that's just what I'm seeing. I'll give one example. A sync licensing company just emails me basically saying that they love my music and they would love to represent me. And all they're going to do is charge me this fee, and it's fully 100% refundable. And they're going to go and pitch it to these video games and radio stations and blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how it works. This is why I know it's a scam. The companies aren't hitting you up saying they're going to charge you. Like they just don't do that. Like there is no shortage of music out there. Trust me, musicians are beating down doors to get in. Like it is fierce competition out there. They're not coming. They're not seeking us out unless you're making massive noise. Unless you're like Little Nas. You know what I mean? Like you have to be like the exception of the exception of the exception. I just want to like kind of spread a little bit of awareness and like let people know, be careful. Just be careful. Because like we could all get caught in those rose-colored glasses and easily get scammed, especially if you're in like a really dire situation where you need money, you know. And I just don't want someone to like think that like, oh, these companies are going to completely change your life, because it doesn't work that way. The world doesn't work that way.
True, and I will give one example as well, and I think it will be a good subject for the next podcast to talk about scams and how the internet is moving at the moment. But in the last few weeks, I had some rappers and also some managers of famous rappers hitting me up as well. And this was their official Instagram account of saying, yeah, I can push you 2 blocks and all that stuff. And the first thing they ask is, what's your budget? I'm like, if a company is real about this, whether it's a record label or a sync licensing company, they're not going to discuss money. They're going to first say, hey, can you get on a call and we'll discuss some opportunities, and we think we have a great song for this and this, so let's hop on a call this week, and then we'll discuss something further. Instead of, hey, what's your budget? Like,
right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, contracts will be discussed. There's going to be a lot more things. Like they don't just come at you with money. You're so right. These are things we need to be aware of, and it definitely needs to be talked about. I think we're going to see more of it.
I think so too. And great subject for the other podcasts. So.
Yep.
Not only Joe Rogan left the chat, but also Robert and Bazes are leaving the chat.
Right. So yes, that's what we will discuss for the next one. If you guys want to tune in, we'll go in more detail about it. I think it's definitely a good subject for especially all our musician friends out there. Like if you guys have ideas or things or even stories that you want to tell, like please let us know, you know, and maybe we could talk about it in the next one. So
yeah, man. Oh, bro, it didn't record, man. Nah, just kidding. I just wanted to see your face.
Wow. Did you see that, man? All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you.
All right. Later.